Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Thursday's blog. Hope you enjoyed it yesterday. Hope you enjoy today's as well. Everyone's talking about it. George Clooney and his chat with Grant Laughlin. And I spoke to Grant about it yesterday, and I wanted to actually do it in yesterday's blog, but there wasn't time. So I'm going to give Grant this whole blog to himself. You met the man.
I feel privileged.
You've had the Clooney effect, and you survived.
Yes, the Clooney. I'm seriously. Yesterday at my desk, when I arrived back in the office from London, I was down on Tuesday doing interviews. I had a gaggle of girls around. I've never had more female attention in my entire life. Thanks to George Clooney. What was he like? What was he like? You know, he was fantastic. I have to say, he won over everyone at the junket. When you go down there, you know, you've got the kind of hardened journalists, the cynical ones. I mean, we all came out. He just has it's the Clooney effect. He just knows how to treat the journalists. He knows how to give you what you're looking for. He was self-deprecating. He knows, you know, it's a romantic comedy. He knows where to pitch it. It's nothing life-changing, or, you know, it's not making a big, huge, grand statement about the world. It's a bit of fun, and it's an entertaining 2 hours.
The other A-list star that does this quite a lot is Tom Cruise. You know, we keep hearing about this, that he works the crowd at big premieres, and he goes out and he'll go on people's mobile phones and he'll speak to their mother and all the rest of it. But George is he does it with knobs on, doesn't he?
He does it. I mean, he seriously does, and I think he does it more with. I mean, his stock is way up there, and he knows his appeal, and he knows that he doesn't even need to do the you know, phone your mother. I mean, Cruise is really clutching at straws, doing all that. You know, I mean, he doesn't even need to do that. He just turns up and smile and be there, and the people love him.
Well, we were treated.
I mean, you tell me, what is that thing? What is it about Clooney?
I would just describe him as a nice man. He just comes across as a really nice guy that you know, if you ended up walking into a bar and he was there, he'd buy you a drink. Well, I hope he'd buy me a drink.
Not attractive then.
He's very attractive, Fraser. Not as attractive as you. I actually met him once, years and years and years ago, and I was over in Washington, and I was in the Washington Hilton, and it was the press fund dinner, where all the journalists from all over America, sort of A-list journalists. I wasn't actually at the dinner, I was just staying in the hotel. And Clinton was there, Ellen DeGeneres was there, Alec Baldwin was there. Who did he used to be married to?
Kim Basinger.
Kim Basinger, she was there. And then I thought, hang on a minute, there's George Clooney. Now this is when he's at the top of his ER fame.
Oh, right, okay.
So I loitered with intent outside the gents' toilets because I'd just seen him go in. And out he came. And I just went up to him and I think, Mr. Clooney, and he was really nice.
No,
I know.
Starstruck.
Well, I didn't. I was also jet lagged. I'd been awake
right,
for about 32 hours at this stage, and I went up and I chatted away to him, and he was just a really nice, accessible man, and I have to say, quite small.
Actually, he's not. I think you might. I mean, he's about my height. I'm 5'10", and he's about my height. In fact, I think he might be a bit, but he's about my height. Very, very thin. But nice. I mean, but I don't get starstruck, and I just don't. And I think in this job, you can't get starstruck.
Okay, well, let's pick up on that, because, you know, we're so used to you interviewing A-list stars. They really, really like you. You were telling me yesterday, Halle Berry, she's got a blacklist, but you're not on it.
Yes.
How do you get round them? Do you think it is down to your unique style, or do you think it's a wee bit of the wee Scots guy as well? What do you think it is?
It's a combination of that. I think it's very, very flattering of you. But I think it is that, and I think they know. I mean, when you go in, you hit the ground running. You go in, you've got like 6 to 8 minutes sitting down. You don't meet them before it. There's no pre-chat or anything like that. You go in, you sit down, and you have to go with it, and you have to hit the ground running. And I think they can pretty much get you within the first sort of 30 seconds that you're not going to ask, you know, the difficult question, you know, about their last relationship and about splitting up with X and Y and all that sort of stuff. So, and my sort of style is about the banter, and I think you get more out of them that way. And you know, but sometimes you go in and it's really hard to break through, and you can kind of walk away thinking, oh, that was a really bad interview. But then when you come back and you watch it and you edit it together, it can, you know, something that looks average, you can make it sparkle, you know, with the edit, and it actually wasn't as bad as you thought at the time, because your mind's racing all the time. You're thinking, right, what they're saying, and you're trying to think, you know, you're trying to stay one step ahead of them, and make sure that you don't ask the question that they've just answered. I mean, you've interviewed politicians and famous people yourself, and that's the one big thing, is to make sure that you don't ask what they've just answered, you know. So you get, there's 101 different things going on at the one time. Plus, you're taking account, because there's somebody sitting just off, you know, the situation would be like this, and there's someone sitting off camera that I can see, you can't, who's sitting going 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 2 minutes, and then this. wrap up.
The kind of PR posse that goes around with them.
That's it's a company called Special Treats who do a lot of the junkets for all the film companies, and they're fantastic at running these events. And it's just a timekeeper that brings you into the room and introduces you to the.
And I take it if George Clooney's really, really enjoying his interview with you and you've overrun, then he'll say, "Hey, it's okay."
It has happened on a few occasions with a few actors where they've said, "No, just let it go." Dustin Hoffman being one, where we're supposed to only get like about 6 minutes. I think it ended up being about 10. And he wanted to tell this Scottish joke, which I think you can find on the web somewhere. And he was great. And so they have to go with the actor, And Clooney's the director, and he's back in this film as well. So if he wanted to go overrun, they'll just have to let him overrun.
Of course, there was that memorable interview with Michael Parkinson and Meg Ryan. If you happen to see it, and if you remember, Parky was trying very hard to interview Meg Ryan, and she was just not having a good day, and really quite clearly did not want to be there. And I think he said, "You don't really want to be here," and she said no. Then a couple of days later, I heard that you were interviewing her for Scotland Today, and I have to say, I think I flagged up to the news desk, "Listen, guys, if it's anything to go by Saturday night, we might not have a piece here." You charmed the pants off her.
Well, I did that interview actually 2 weeks before Parky's interview. And she was actually lovely. I can't remember the name of the film actually, not off the top of my head. And it wasn't a particularly good film either. But she strips off in the film, so everyone was asking about that and about doing, being in her 40s and doing these nude scenes and everything. And so I think she was just fed up with all that. And she obviously had been split up from Dennis Quaid, and she had a lot of issues apparently going on and stuff like that. And then it was also. She'd had
bit of a trout pout
as well, and so it was, So anyway, so at the end of the interview in the film, at the end of the interview, she had trained to be a journalist. I don't think she graduated, but she trained to be a journalist, and then she went to become an actress. So the question I asked her was, you trained to become a journalist. If you were sitting where I am now, what question would you ask yourself? And she said, "Oh, what are your plans for dinner tonight?" I was like, "Oh." So I think I said something like, "Oh, we'll go to Burger King, you'll not get noticed there," or something like that, But she was lovely. I mean, she was really nice and warm and charming. And I think, they know that you're not, I don't know, they must just get the vibe that you're not going to be intrusive and that you're not going for the jugular and you're not going to ask, awkward questions. But she was lovely. But I know what happened about Parky. I know why she was like that. I don't know if you want to know.
Oh, go on.
What happened was, in Parkinson, they all sit behind the scenes and watch everyone's interviews, but she refused to do it. So when she came on, she didn't know what had gone before, and so she was completely, what's going on here? And Parkinson thought that was very disrespectful to the other guests. And so basically, I understand that he then just went for the jugular and started asking questions which I don't think she wanted to ask. And so she didn't know who Trini and Susanna were. They were on with her as well, and I don't know who the third guest was as well. And so it was she was just having a bad day, full stop.
But we all have bad days, she was probably promoting her film and all the rest of it, and you get tired and blah blah blah.
You know what? I'm glad that she gave Parky a run for his money. I really am. I think that didn't happen enough.
Well, I have to say, when Grant comes back from one of his junkets, we love interrogating him, and he's always got wee nuggets that he can't always broadcast.
No, I can't. Only you knew.
But I'm writing them in my book. No, I'm only joking. Well, listen, I really enjoyed the interview with George Clooney.
Thank you. Do you want to know who's next as a payoff to this interview? Yeah. I've got, do you watch Chicago Hope? No, it's not Chicago Hope. Grey's Anatomy. Yeah. I always get the two mixed up.
Not the guy out of it.
It is. Is it Dr. McDreamy or something like that?
He's gorgeous.
Patrick Dempsey. And then the next...
Is he not now the face of Versace or something?
I
He's just...
no idea.
He was in a Who's magazine or something.
To be honest, I hardly know who he is. But anyway,
I'll do the interview for you.
Because he was in Scotland last year making this film, so he's done this film. It's a romantic comedy. And then the next day, I've got Uma Thurman. And then I think on the Thursday, again, she knows me. Hi, Uma. And then I think on the Thursday, it's Robert Downey Jr. for Iron Man.
How is he now? Has he kind of cleaned up his act?
I think he has.
Okay, well listen, Grant, it's been lovely to chat to you. I hope you've enjoyed being outdoors. We're absolutely freezing now.
It's Baltic. Let's go in.
And do you think we haven't even mentioned the Squinty Bridge, which incidentally isn't fixed yet? We should hurry up. Yeah, it's still broken.
It's all very...
And poor Fraser, cameraman, has to go the long way home. He's very annoyed about it. So get your bridge fixed. Anyway, that's it from the blog. And we'll see you tomorrow. Toodly pip.